Hi there, my name is Ron Rogers, and I need your help. I need your vote. I have a small but loyal following on my aviation videos, and I've got two types here. I've got the Great Lakes here, and I also have the 310, and I'll do a separate video on that. But here's one view that's looking forward. On the forward strut, so it gives you a forward strut view, and basically I'd like you in the comments to tell me, well, which views do you like, because they've got various aspects. This one is, it's kind of like looking from the front seat, but you're kind of there at an angle, but it does give you a nice front view. It doesn't give you a whole much of lateral information there, and all you see in the picture is the nose, and some of the other viewings give you a little more information as far as flight controls and that. So my question is, how many people like this view? Now this whole thing came about when I had a over-the-air view that a lot of people seemed to like, and they commented on that, and I hadn't thought too much about, which views people may like one over the other. And of course there's also the aspect of what you like to see. Now this one, this is the tail wheel view, and to get my wife to hold on to that tail wheel, that is just difficult. She doesn't like doing that very much, but this is kind of a nice view in the fact that it gives you the wings, the ailerons there, and it also you can see how well those struts work to absorb semi-light landings, which may or may not be the most graceful at times, and it can show you crosswind components and stuff like that. So this is a view that I'd like you to think about and see, do I like this view or not? And this happens to be flying into Blakesburg, Iowa, the Antique Aircraft Association, which is different than the Vintage Aircraft Association, I found out. I guess there was a split way back when the people separated and decided to each go their own way, because initially I joined the Vintage Aircraft under EAA, and I thought that was the same operation, and I guess it's not. And of course, a lot of you people who like biplanes, like I like biplanes, probably know that history a little bit better than I do. And this is just an interesting kind of panoramic view. This view can be useful when you're flying over just terrain, if you like to look down on things. I did a few videos where I'm flying over the Lake Geneva area, and there are just a plethora of really neat houses there. People who make a lot of money and can live on Lake Geneva. I live on Crystal Lake, which is that's the B-scale lake. It's a lot cheaper to live on this lake, but it's getting more and more expensive as time goes on. But anyway, I would appreciate your thoughts on this view. There's a little interesting aspect that you can see the shadow of the airplane down there, at least momentarily. And this is a fun little strip to go into, the Antique Airfield. 50 years ago, I flew in there for the first time with a friend of mine. And he unfortunately is no longer flying. I think he had some medical conditions, but we started out flying together and went into the Air Force together, and we were in Air Force pilot training at the same time, which was kind of a neat deal. Here I'm coming into the grass strip, so you can see the that's kind of cool where you can see the shadow come up. And that's a little bit more firm. But the thing I like about the struts on the Great Lakes is I can get away with landings that I would never be able to get away with in like a Cub or the Decathlon. That sort of a sink rate would put you back up into the air in no time. Now here's the one that I got a lot of comments on you guys kind of liked, and it's the behind the ear view. Now in this one you can't see any flight controls or anything like that. You can kind of see my head there and that I'm hanging, but it's kind of like you're right there in my position, so you can kind of see what this looks like from my visual standpoint of looking forward. And you can see where I'm looking and stuff like that if anybody cares about this. Now this one is on that same front strut mount, but it is That's interesting. Text here. Well, that's a nice little editing issue on my part. I didn't notice until just now. But anyway, this one is looking backwards, obviously towards me. And this can be interesting in some of the spins where you can see the rudder and elevator involvement. But if you're prone to air sickness, this probably isn't a very good view, and you're just seeing where I've been, which, you know, is exciting, I guess, if you like to know where I've been. But anyway, it gives just a little different view here. And of course, the whole event is a little more of a surprise. This is coming around to land at 3 Charlie Kilo, coming over the gravel pit there, and coming in to land. I know that because I'm familiar with the area. It's interesting to see the reflection off the top wing there. I'm kind of inverted. And there's the touchdown. Fairly near the center line. And bringing the power in. Yeah, look at that. I drifted off the center line. All right. So you see all my flying defects there. But it gives a nice little view back on the climb out here. And I keep a level acceleration to let the airspeed build. And then I pull it back, start the turn. I get an initial instantaneous climb rate of 3,000 feet per minute, which is kind of cool. I used to fly airplanes. Well, I'm only doing about 105 knots here when I start the pull-up. I used to fly airplanes that had afterburners, and I would hit 500 knots off the end of the runway, which out at Edwards, that was legal. And then when you'd pull up, you would get a climb rate of 50,000 feet per minute, which was, to say the least, very impressive. So this is the view of looking backwards, which probably isn't as exciting, except if you really want to get the views of the rudder there, for what that's worth. And we got one more view coming up here. It'll be the last view that I can get your input in, if you'd be so kind. And this is a view that looks from the wingtip in. And I use this one when I take people up for rides because you can see the people clearly. Now this one is a pretty good position for that also, because you are looking back on a person that would sit in the front seat. This aircraft, of course, is flown from the back seat solo only. That's where all the flight controls are and all the switches and good stuff like that. And of course, here's me coming in on another pattern and landing. Yeah, it's interesting. You can see the rudder movement, because on a conventional gear aircraft tail dragger, you have to really be on the rudders to keep the airplane going straight, because it's the difference of pulling a wagon and pushing a wagon. And then, of course, the other question is, like, what type of video do you like to see? Patterns, aerobatics, and of course, with the aerobatics, that position, is important because you get various views off the wingtip and stuff like that, especially when you're doing hammerheads. Looking down the wingtip is good for that. So that's the question there. And of course, here is the looking from the wingtip in, which gives you a side view of the aircraft, which is kind of nice. I think it's good in aerobatics, especially like hammerheads, to see that you're getting that straight up vertical line and things like that. That's a questionable value on doing patterns and stuff, because you can't really, you can see the center line, but you can't see how things are going very well. But anyway, those are various camera placements and views, and if you would be so kind as to leave your comments in the comment section on which views you like, or even a combination of views possibly, and that could be important on doing aerobatics, because it might be good to look at flight control stuff like that. But anyway, I would appreciate your comment very much, so thanks for watching, and I look forward to your comments.